Hey guys, it's Marky and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be a questions and answers that I have received off of Instagram. And a couple of these were actually posted in my story, but I wanted to cover them here and go more in depth. So we're just going to hop right into it. So first question is, advice for a newbie, I know nothing. My first piece of advice that's really crucial is start simple. I mean, really take advantage of the internet. I mean, you have it, it's right there at the touch of our fingers these days. So Instagram, I'm going to do another video covering actually Instagram users that I have really used as inspiration and have influenced me heavily in the way I've progressed the past year or two. And then when it comes to tarot, I really highly recommend, if you're just starting out, get the Rider-Waite. It's especially a great deck if you're wanting to learn how to do intuitive reading, because you can really interpret the artwork into symbolizations of meanings in your life, or that could represent you personally or another person, depending on who you're doing the reading for. Another tip for starting out too is keep a notebook or journal. I have mine, and I'm not going to show in the video. I actually share pages on my Instagram. But I keep mine, I call it my spiritual journal. Some people, depending on if you're Wiccan or pagan, like to call it their Book of Shadows or Grimoire. And I don't like to put a label on things as much as I can. But a journal's really, really good. That way, as you're learning things and you, learn something new about a tarot card or a spread or about crystals, and you go, oh man, I really like that. I really think that I could use that later. Jot it down, because I promise you, with everything you learn along the way, you're going to forget things. Question number 2, and this one's actually from a friend, Dakota, or at EcoFriendlyWitch on Instagram. Hi, Dakota. And she asked, what do you consider yourself to be? That is a really easy question to answer for you. I'm eclectic, so I just take bits and pieces, whether it's from Wiccan or paganism or witchcraft, and I just take whatever I find useful for myself and use that and put that into my practice, and that's what I am. So third question is, do you use crystals? And yes, I do. I have crystals, some of you've seen in pictures on my altar, all over the place. That's one of my biggest things, is I like to collect crystals, and not only for their properties and symbolisms and everything, but I really like the way they look. And so yes, I do use crystals. So this next question goes along with the last one I just answered, and that is, what crystals do you use in tarot? And I like to use best labradorite, which actually stands for magic or symbolizes that. And this is my favorite piece. I'll try to show you. Hopefully the camera will focus good. And this was actually a piece I only got for $8 locally. And the other site's not as flashy, but it's really nice. So yeah, I like to use labradorite, and I also like to use amethyst, which kind of represents intuition and your third eye chakra, if you're into that, which I will make a video on chakras eventually also. And that is this one that's got the, purple and clear. So it kind of looks like a clear quartz with purple in it. And yeah, I really, really like those in tarot though, because especially when it comes to readings, I really want to put out that intuitive part of me and try to channel it as much as I can when I'm doing a reading. That way I don't need a book for help, which nothing wrong with it if you do need books, just saying. I've been reading cards for over 2 years now, and even I sometimes get stuck and go, not quite sure if this card fits for what I'm trying to read here, so I'm just going to double check, and then, you know what, if it doesn't add up or doesn't flow with what you're doing, you feel it's just not right, pull another one. So next question is, when did you start practicing? I started practicing really when I was 15, and I'm 22 going on 23 now, but I didn't start practicing tarot up until a little over 2 years ago. First I got into Wiccan and realized it wasn't the right path for me, and that was about from the age of 15 to 16. Then I got more into paganism and was into that from about 16 and a half, 17 until I was, 18, 19 years old. And again, realized, I just don't feel like all of these parts of these really fit me. And that's when I realized, you know what, I need something that I can be able to be really open and free-minded like I am as a person. So that's when I found eclecticism. Hope I'm saying that right. So yes, that's how long. Next question is, what is your daily tarot routine? And I'm not gonna lie to you, some days I just don't do anything. Like, I just won't have the energy, or I'll be busy with my kids, or I just won't have that spark that says, you know, you need a reading today. But when I do, I like to get up. First, I like to clean my entire apartment, like especially the living room where my altar is and where I do my readings, because to me, a cluttered living space makes a cluttered mind. And I actually learned that from my mom. And I totally agree with it though. So I like to clean my entire apartment. I like to put sweet orange and lemongrass in my diffuser, essential oil in my diffuser, and have that kind of give that nice sweet uplifting smell. And it's also an anti-anxiety blend. So then I like to take sage and Palo Santo and just kind of waft it all over my altar and cards. And I will shuffle the cards and pull one, and to me that's kind of the energy and representation of my day I'm gonna have. And then I sometimes like to go and do like Emerald Lotus Divination on Instagram. Her spreads are amazing, and she's actually got one that's like, I think like morning cup of coffee, or like my morning routine. And sometimes if I want a more in-depth reading, I'll go there and get that spread from her and do it. And then I usually post it on Instagram. It's either 24 hours, put it on my page. So I don't know. You never know. So that is my tarot routine daily. And then every once in a while too, I will do the 3-card pulls and post them on Instagram for you guys. And other than that, that's all I do for the day. So I was actually really super excited for this next question, because I never get to really show these off, especially not in a video yet. What deck do I feel most connected to? And that would be the Deviant Moon Tarot deck, which is actually the most expensive deck I've ever bought for myself. So far it was like $50, and well worth it. That's all I'm gonna say. So this is the deck. This is the box that it comes in, and this is the back. And I mean, the artwork alone immediately caught my eye. And it is actually by Patrick Valenza. I hope I am saying that right. But, so that's the box. And it slides open. And then you can see the deck, like the actual box with the deck in there. And so this is the box that it comes with. And that's the back too, which is the Magician card. And I feel most connected to this deck personally, just because it was the first one that I ever it was the first deck I ever bought after my Rider-Waite deck, which was my first one. There is a shop in Vancouver, Washington called Love Potion, and that is where I got them from. And I stood in front of their Tarot and Oracle case that literally has hundreds and hundreds of decks for probably like 35 minutes before I finally can make up my mind. And these ones just, I mean, it immediately was like instant connection. I have to have them. They are going to flow with me. And I had a hard time at first. And then after cleansing them and putting them away on a shelf with some crystals and labradorite for a good like month, and then picking them back up, I flow with them perfectly fine. So here's like kind of a fanned out. I don't know how well you can see them all, but the artwork is just, I mean, amazing. And it kind of reminds me of like Labyrinth, Brian Froud and David Bowie. I mean, come on, and Jim Henson. Sorry, can't forget him. It kind of reminds me of like Labyrinth meets Mirror Mask, which is actually a UK film. I don't know how many people have seen it, but I highly recommend it. And I think that's part of why I connected with it really well. And it just really fits my personality personally, because I've always had that kind of darker edge to me. Hit subscribe, like the video, and thank you guys for watching.